Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TheYouthPulse podcast. We are your hosts, Lincoln Dye.
And Vyas, and welcome back to episode 5 of this podcast.
A lot of people think that mental health is just in your head, but it's actually deeply physical as well.
If you have never struggled with mental health, it can easily be something that you can just dismiss or not consider for other people.
But according to the National Alliance on Mental Health, over 60% of people struggle with both depression and anxiety disorders, meaning that it affects at least half the people in your life.
And anxiety and depression themselves have very different physical symptoms and can look very different, but also can coexist and look similar too. Like, for example, when people have anxiety attacks or are suffering through anxiety, they can feel tightness in their chest or feel like they really can't breathe. And
Mm-hmm.
especially during panic attacks, I think that's when it's most prevalent, where you feel like your heart's racing at a million miles an hour and your mind starts spiraling, you physically just like feel like you can't breathe.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that goes into anxiety as well, because there's a lot of different ways that anxiety manifests.
Mm.
So you can deal with anxiety, but there's also different subcategories. And like you said, you could have panic episodes and struggle with panic disorder. And there's also um, OCD and a lot of different other forms of anxiety as well that can impact your life. And another major symptom that kind of goes along with that is rapid heartbeat. And with rapid heartbeat and anxiety, it doesn't have to be from like exercising or doing something. You could be laying in bed and just have a really fast heartbeat due to your anxiety.
I think many of these functions are from predetermined cognitive effects. When you start overthinking and your mind starts spiraling, it really affects how you breathe and how like your body like temperature feels. Like sometimes you can get super shaky and jittery when you're overthinking or panicking about something in your head. Like you may not be talking about it out loud, but just the way the brain thinks, it can cause you to start shaking before certain things. Like for example, if you're giving a presentation at school or about to go into a final, you can start thinking about your grades and what other people are going to think, and the shakiness or cracking of your voice can clearly be shown.
Mm-hmm. And then, like you mentioned just a little bit, like it can definitely make you sweat and feel really hot. It can also make you feel extremely cold.
Mm.
And this doesn't just happen because you're outside in the sun. It's something that happens very quickly. It's a very onset, like right then. You just instantly go from being regular to being super sweaty or super cold.
And many of the times, like when your brain's super swelling, you're like jittery. This can really affect like how your immune system almost reacts and like make you feel like you're gonna throw up or like get super dizzy and fatiguey and make you feel like you're genuinely gonna pass out. And this can almost just be something that's in your head or genuinely like physically your brain is going so fast and that your heart's beating super fast that your blood sugar is running low and you're gonna pass out.
Hmm. And along that note, um, because anxiety works in a way where people are extremely like scared in a sense, it can lead to muscle tension because people are constantly tensing up when they're anxious, and it's not even intentional, it just happens when you're anxious. You tend to kind of scrunch up and like clench your jaw, or it can be other things like your neck and your shoulders. And the main thing with that is knots in your stomach. It can really affect your stomach. And a lot of the times, people struggling with anxiety deal with stomach issues. And if you don't know that it's anxiety, it can almost make you think that it's not anxiety and that you're just having different stomach issues. And a lot of people think that they have digestive issues when it's actually just their anxiety.
And like you said with the muscle tensions, it's just the way the body reacts when you're super tight or like super nervous. You have the effect on your heart directly where your heart starts losing control of how it can beat, and that's why you can't breathe sometimes, or some people turn super red and like you can physically see them like super stressed out or like genuinely not okay.
Hmm. In the same way that when someone's really scared or nervous and anxious, like let's say they have to present in front of the class and that's something that gives them like a lot of social anxiety, they can turn extremely pale too
Mm-hmm.
and lose all the color from their face.
Oh, yeah. And then a lot of the times, even if it's something not as big as presenting or having a test, sometimes when you're just overthinking in general, like, oh, I have a million things to do tomorrow or that are due tonight, and you just get so caught up in that thought, you can't focus at all. Like, your brain completely shuts down, and then from the outside, it just looks like you're being lazy. Laziness,
Hmm.
I think, is a huge thing, but it's not actually laziness. Like, you genuinely just feel like you can't do it.
Yeah. Another major symptom of anxiety is derealization, which is where you feel disconnected and like you're outside of your body. It's almost like you're a ghost, just
Mm-hmm.
like you're not fully there. You just don't feel real.
Yeah, I think many situations, like, especially if there's like many people in the room or you can't focus because you're thinking about other things, you really feel disconnected or just shut down for a minute or two.
Hmm.
And like, even if someone's talking to you, you're not actually listening because your brain's not focusing on them and something else or other
Hmm.
things.
And then we also have, as another physical symptom, is having trouble to sit still because with anxiety, it's common because you're so anxious to have a more when your mind is really active and thinking, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, you tend to be more restless. And so you're going to feel more on edge. People with anxiety typically have like a leg bounce or just have a trouble sitting still. Maybe you see people like pacing back and forth because it's
Mm-hmm.
just hard to sit down when their
Mm-hmm.
mind is going crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will try to distract themselves, but also like fidgety things, like they'll click their pen, mess with their pencil, flip papers around, look through the back. Especially
Hmm.
at school, I think you can definitely see this occurring. Like, especially even when like during a test, they'll get up and use the bathroom multiple times, leave the classroom just to try to get out of that tension-filled headspace.
Hmm. And there's also other kind of harmful ways that that can manifest too, because some people pick their skin or pick at their lips or their nails, and some people just may do harmful things like plucking their eyebrows or eyelashes and stuff
Mm-hmm.
because it's a way to relieve the sort of chaos that's going on internally.
Mm-hmm. I think it can just be a different way for them to focus on something else. And
Hmm.
when there's like a feeling involved in something else, like plucking your eyebrows, you can really like focus on that instead
Yeah.
of the thoughts in your head.
Mhm. Okay, and then moving on from that section of the physical symptoms of anxiety, we're going to talk about the physical symptoms of depression. And of course, like some of the symptoms can overlap because there's different things that contribute to both and they can go hand in hand with each other in certain places, but there's also things that distinguish between the two.
Mm. Like, for example, as we mentioned earlier, with anxiety, people can feel very nauseous in a way because of how much they're overthinking. And similarly, if someone has depression, they can also feel that sense of fatigue, but their fatigue is maybe a different way. Like, it's not restlessness, it's almost in a way where they're too overthinking and sad to do anything, where they're just like drowsy or drowsy in a way, but more fatigue based.
Yeah, it's like a very low energy state, whereas anxiety is that high energy mind going crazy. With depression, you can feel exhausted at all times, even after taking a nap or waking up in the morning after getting 12 hours of sleep. It's not sleep based tiredness, it's you are in such a low energy state that your body is just constantly tired. It's hard to do things, it's hard to get out of bed.
Yeah, many of the times it can feel like your body weight is like enforcing on you, like you feel heavy all the time. Like even if you're sitting in bed, you just like cannot get up, like you physically can't move, or that you just want to go home in an event, or you just want to not talk to anyone, shut down in a way. It can cause you to have very slowed, like deteriorate your motivation level very quickly, and like you can like flip the switch on your emotion.
Mhm. And like a common misconception with that is that it doesn't make you lazy in any way for you to feel heavy and not be able to get out of bed and be in a low energy state. It's not laziness that they're experiencing because laziness is when you can do something, but you choose not to. It's like I could do my homework, but I'm going to choose to watch TV instead because I don't want to do the homework.
Mm.
Whereas with depression, you want to get out of bed, you want to go shower, to hang out with your friends, but you physically can't. You feel almost glued to your bed or just glued to your house, maybe. You physically cannot do certain things, and it's
Yeah.
debilitating.
Yeah. Or like when you want, when your motivation is slowed down, you like when you're out with your friends or something, you just feel like, oh, I should be at home. I shouldn't be outside. I should be at home doing nothing or just be by myself and have alone time again.
Mhm. And then, along with that, slowed reaction time with depression because when you're in a low energy state, and also with depression, things stop, you stop caring about a lot of different things emotionally. And with not caring about things comes a slowed reaction time because if you don't care about something, there's not a sense of urgency
Mm-hmm.
in the matter.
Yeah, it can really make you just feel like you don't have to consider it at all in a way.
Mhm.
And I think that something else that really affects when you have depression is your sleep like patterns. Some people can't sleep at all. Like they suffer through insomnia where they can't fall asleep till 3 or 4 in the morning. Or some people wanna, they're so tired mentally and physically that they want to sleep the whole day. And then with these sleeping patterns, it can really affect your mood, your personality, and your behavior because sleep generally just affects these things.
And it can definitely have an impact on your concentration. A lot of people struggling with depression have difficulty concentrating on certain tasks, and they may struggle with brain fog as well. So that's more emotional, but it also affects you physically because if you have difficulty concentrating, then it's going to lead to you having a harder time getting tasks done. And it can almost, in a way, lead to task paralysis, where like I said earlier, you want to do certain things and get certain work done, but you physically can't.
Yeah, like certain things, just like getting up and brushing your teeth, maybe feeling like this is like the end of the world, or just starting your day and like getting that motivation to actually get up and get ready can feel
And
super hard.
and with that, like not being able to do small tasks like brushing your teeth or getting dressed or something, sometimes people are able to go throughout their whole day, go to school, do their homework, hang out with friends, and it's very exhausting for them, but they're able to do stuff like that. But because they're forcing themselves to do so much, they still can't even do the small things like what we mentioned, like brushing your teeth or taking care of yourself because you're putting so much energy into other areas of life when with depression you can't force yourself to do something that you can't, otherwise you're it's going to be a cycle of burnout.
And then with that, I think with depression, many people have like constant headaches or body aches. Like they feel like their head always hurts, their stomach hurts, and that's more like how the cognitive affects your entire immune system and body in general. Because you can just feel so exhausted all the time that you, because of your motivation and exhaustion, you can't, you feel like literally sick all the time or feel like you have no physical strength left.
And it can weaken your immune system as well because
Mm.
if you're unable to do the little things to take care of yourself, if you can't eat healthy, because there's definitely changes in appetites as well, you might not be eating as much because it's almost like a chore to go
Hmm.
and do that. Your immune system is going to be weak, and then you're prone to more diseases or just like a cold or a flu. You might get sick more often.
Yeah, and sometimes when you fall into that cycle of not wanting to do things on a regular, and then, like you said earlier, you force yourself to do a bunch of things for other people or because you have to, that affects your body a lot because that sudden change of not doing anything to doing everything can really have a physical effect on your whole body.
And it may lead to you feeling just generally drained and almost in a state of emptiness where there's just no motivation. It's almost similar to the like derealization of being like outside of your body, but you're still in it. There's just
Mhm.
nothing there. There's no purpose or motivation. It's just emptiness.
Some people can, you can really tell a significant change where someone may stop getting as ready as they used to or not wanting to go out as much and just physically seeing someone be drained in their eyes and their face. Okay, moving on, we were going to talk about how anxiety and depression can be compared so we can clarify some of the things we've mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. So, like what we mentioned earlier, anxiety is very high energy based, where your body is more overactive and it's working harder than a regular person's body is. So it's and in overtime, kind of in that fight or flight state of mind where you're in a panic, you're worried, your mind is going 100 miles an hour and it has no intention to slow down.
Whereas when with depression, you feel in this low energy, drained state where you just feel like it's too much effort to get out of bed or do anything because you feel like you can't and your physical response isn't going to help and you just decide it's way easier to just not do anything.
Mm. And you can struggle with both simultaneously, where you're in a cycle of the highest energy state and you're dealing with like a overactive mind and a lot of anxiety. And then maybe the next day you're at rock bottom and you feel like a lot of low energy and you're in a low state. And they can really cycle back and forth between each other as well.
Mm-hmm. And then another thing was that how anxiety is more panic based and more sense of urgency of do things at all times and overthinking of all the thousands of things you have to do or making yourself believe that you need to do this as soon as possible or everything needs to be done a certain way and this panic constant panic mode that the brain is put into.
And on the other hand, depression is more of a physical shutdown where you are not on edge, but you're just drained. You're not restless, but you're more numb, or you have a heaviness to your body and you're not able to do anything.
And then again, these can go coincide with each other, like how you can feel like you have so many things to do, but you can't do them, or you know you have so much going on, but and are constantly panicked and worried, but don't have the motivation to physically get up and do it.
And I think a lot of people rely on anxiety to kind of mask their depression. So when you struggle with depression and you go through depressive episodes where you are at such a low energy, people who constantly go through that may rely on the high activity and panic and urgency of anxiety to remain at a higher energy because I feel like even though having anxiety is really bad, being at a high energy level may be better socially and like around other people than being at a low energy when you're with other
Yeah.
people.
Like for example, like you would make extra plans or do keep yourself busy at all times to force yourself to not sit with your own thoughts
Mm.
and bubble yourself alone. because you know what would like you would start thinking and start feeling like the demotivation aspect.
Mm-hmm. And then anxiety is more physical tension, so you might feel it in your neck, your shoulders. You may feel tense a lot of the time, and you have those racing thoughts, like we said, where it's a lot of tension.
Whereas when depression involves more slower paced thoughts and more decomposed motivation levels, like you feel like you don't want to like think about other things going on because you already have something going on, or you don't want to go out anymore, or you don't want to do this because there's no point
Mhm.
in feeling that lack of motivation.
And then anxiety pushes you into action. And like I said, people rely on that. So when you're really worried about something and you have anxiety over something, it pushes you to get that thing done. If you're anxious over getting your homework done, you're going to get it done because you're so scared about it and you're so anxious about it. And even if you're overwhelmed or overthinking, it's more action based.
Where in contrast, depression makes it feel like you don't need to do something, or it's really hard to get up and do it. Like doing the small things, like you genuinely just like don't want to do it, or it takes all of your physical strength to get up and start doing something.
Hmm. So, for some like generalized coping mechanisms that may help people, the first one is exercising daily and getting that physical activity, especially outside in nature, like walking or running, swimming, gardening. It's really good for the body and it boosts endorphins and reduces stress. So, what that means is that it calms the mind down and it can just make it easier to relax. And it can also boost dopamine levels. And so, your system's going to be more balanced if you're able to just get outside for a little bit. Even if you can't get outside, just working out inside can be a great way to release stress in the body as well.
Mm-hmm. Or a similar way can be relaxing techniques, such as if you don't feel like up to doing a full on workout, maybe doing yoga or meditation can really help soothe the mind, especially if you have the super fast paced thoughts and overthinking consuming you. Taking a minute or a few minutes to meditating, doing yoga can really help your nervous system like restart and have a fresh, clear mind when you leave. And even if it's just getting up and doing that one thing can have you have help you have a clearer mind for the entire day.
Even like self care or having like a massage to relax and get that tension out of you, and just doing mindful things for yourself with the relaxation techniques to really just soothe the mind and focus on yourself rather than the anxiety like or depression consuming you.
Yeah, and with like the self care, having like small goals or habits that you try to maintain for yourself, such as like trying to make little meal plans and telling yourself that, okay, I'm going to have at least 2 meals a day, or try to drink a certain amount of water a day, and having small little goals that can help you maintain your physical health rather than consuming yourself within your thoughts.
Like the healthy habits is really important. Like you said, having regular meal plans and limiting alcohol and drugs and caffeine, because ultimately that's going to trigger more anxiety. It can lead to panic attacks. It can lead to depression when you're having withdrawals or just struggling with other things is going to make it a lot more difficult to deal with your mental health.
And I think that most importantly, to prioritize your sleep and getting enough sleep, and make sure that you have a sleeping schedule or a certain time of sleep that you know is good for yourself, like not oversleeping, but having enough sleep to get you through the day and having enough energy that you know that you can maintain throughout the day.
Thank you guys so much for watching today's episode.
We hope you liked it, and hopefully you guys will leave a comment and subscribe and tell us if you have any ideas for future podcast videos.
Bye.
Bye.